Okay, we're starting. We are starting. Adam. Quiet. Hi. Okay. So this lesson from 6-3 is going to be 2 days. Shh. 2 days. A little bit longer today, a little shorter tomorrow, but then there'll be a quiz over the things that we've done up till now. Tomorrow. Okay. So tomorrow we'll have the second lesson on 6.3, and we'll have a quiz over the things that we've done up till now for this unit. So the only difference now between what we're doing now is there might be more than one operation. There might be more than one operation to solve. So what are going to be the 2 steps I need to isolate the variable in this inequality? Say it again. So it looks like add 7, divide 3, right? I mean, how do you know which one to do first? Kaylee? Yeah, reverse order of operations. Without order of operations, you do multiply before you add or subtract. But in this case, it's going to be add 7. 3x is less than 15. And then divide 3. Divide 3. So x is less than 5. Okay, it says graph. Don't forget the graph. Right, put a 5 right in the middle. Is it open or closed? Open. Left or right? Left. You try that one. So what are the 2 steps in this one? Add 5. Divide by 2. Right. In that order. Add 5, divide by 2. Add 5. (2x) less than or equal to 28. Divide 2. X is less than or equal to 14. Open or closed? Yeah.
If 2 was a negative 2, would it be x is greater than negative 3?
Yes. Right. If you multiply or divide by negative, you flip the symbol. Okay. Open or closed circle? Closed, because it's or equal to. Left or right? Left. Okay. Okay. So what are the steps they're going to use on this one? Distribute. Okay. If you say so. So remember, if you got any issues with multiplying by negative 0.6, use the calculator. Right? That's why you've got a calculator in front of you. Negative 0.6 x, and then somebody help me. What's negative 0.6 times negative 5? Positive 3, less than or equal to 15. Okay, then what? Then what? Okay, so then you could have subtracted the 3. Negative 0.6 x is less than or equal to 12. Then what? Divide by negative 0.6, right? What do I have to remember to do when I divide by negative 0.6? At that step, that flips to a greater than or equal to. So x is greater than or equal to, say it again, negative 20. Right? So if I was going to graph it, 20 goes in the middle, negative 20 goes in the middle. Open or closed circle? Closed, right or left? Right. Now, listen up. Listen up. So on this problem, you don't have to use distributive property first. In fact, in some ways, it might have been easier if you just divide both sides by negative 0.6 first. Since that negative 0.6 was multiplying that whole side, you could have just divided at this step right here. I could have said negative 0.6 divided by negative 0.6 times x minus 5 is greater than or equal to 15 over negative 0.6. Okay, now these cancel, and I have x minus 5 is greater than or equal to, what is 15 divided by negative 0.6? Negative 25, okay, that sounds right. Okay, then I can add 5. I mean, I should get the same answer whatever way that I do it. But in a way, that saves a step. If you just, at the very first step, divide both sides by negative 0.6, it turns it into a two-step process. I think here we had to do 1 for distributive, 2 to add 3, 3 to divide by negative 0.6. Okay, here we go. So try this one. Okay, so what are the two steps here? Subtract 5 and then divide by negative 6. And what do you remember to do when you divide by negative 6? Flip the inequality sign. So what was negative 21 over negative 6? Positive 3.5, sounds right. Open or closed? Right or left?
Right.
Here we go. Okay, try that one. What was the first step? Quiet. I mean, you could have done a couple different things on this one. Actually, I could think of 3 different ways to start this. What's one? Distribute. Or divide by what? Negative 1/4. What's another thing you could have done? Not as the first step. Adam. Multiply by the reciprocal. Remember, usually when you have a fraction in front, to get rid of it, you multiply by the reciprocal. So you could do either one. If we do that, let's say I take that whole thing and I multiply by negative 4, right? The negative 4 times negative 1/4 cancel, and I have p minus 12 is less than negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. Add 12. Now, if I distributed it, I would have gotten this. Negative 1/4 times p. What's negative 1/4 times negative 12? Plus 3 is greater than negative 2. Okay, now what are the two steps? Subtract 3. Negative 1/4 times p is greater than negative 5. And then again, at this step, you could either divide by negative 1/4 or multiply by negative 4. Either one is the same thing. It's too loud, right? Get together after school, talk about your break. Oh, many people are. Okay. So you got options there. Okay. The last kind of problem that we do today, it's got variables on both sides. Kind of like we did with equations, you know, one step, two step, multi-step, variables on both sides. Ty, you paying attention? You sure? Okay. So remember, when you got variables on both sides, there could be some simplifying to do on one side before you start adding things side to side. Is there anything to do on one side? Any simple combining of like terms we need to do? No, I mean, you can go right to the point where you need to add the variable terms to both sides, subtract the numbers from both sides. What should be the first recommended first step here? Subtract 2x. Remember, usually we deal with the smaller variable term first, right? And this is why it's important. This is where it's especially important. So how am I going to cancel a positive 2x on the right-hand side? I subtract 2x, right? Okay, so now I've got 4x minus 7 is greater than 17. Then what? Solving for this x right here. Plus 7. 4x is greater than 24. Okay? Divide by 4. X is greater than 6. Now, quiet please. Pay attention. This is where why it's important to deal with the smaller variable term first. What if instead I would have subtracted 6x as a first step? Here, what if I go like this? 6x minus 7 is greater than 2x plus 17. And I say I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. So now I've got negative 7 is greater than negative 4x plus 17. Okay, now I've got to worry about that dividing by a negative and flipping the sign. So if you deal with the smaller term first, you're not going to create a negative coefficient and another possibility for...
And plus you put the variable on the right side.
Right. That could be fixed, right? Right. So...
Oh my Lord.
Okay, so graph okay, last you try. Okay, so what's the first step? First step. Subtract 3x, right? Why 3x? Because it's the smaller variable term, right? Because by doing that, we don't create a negative coefficient where we don't want it. So minus 3x. Minus 3x. 2x minus 12, less than or equal to negative 4. Okay, next step.
Plus 12.
Plus 12. So we have 2x is less than or equal to 8. Last step. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. X is less than or equal to 4. Okay? So open or closed? Left or right? So in the end, solving inequalities is like solving equations. It's just that one difference, right? So it's actually pretty good practice for that. And that's the end. So that's the homework. You need to be working on it. You got 20 minutes. You could finish. Yeah, just